My name is Christian Basel. Years ago, I had an idea. I got myself a TARDIS. Took it to new places, met a lot of new people, took some great pictures, and talked Doctor Who. From Krypton Radio and the creators of the Hanging With web show, this is the legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Join me on my latest adventures and become part of the legend.
I don't know what happened with the audio out there. It just started to screech. I can't land this thing properly. What's up?
It's storming outside.
I know it is.
And and it's about to storm here. So
it's storming. Yeah, where Nisha and I are at, it's storming right now. I can hear. As soon as that's funny. Actually, I heard the thunder, and that's when the TARDIS started to screech.
Yeah,
it's like you're flying it with the brake on.
I'm glad you said that, Mel. I was about to say that.
No, be realistic in it.
I always leave the brake on.
Oh my Lord.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. We're taking a break because we've been to a lot of conventions, and this thing has been coming up every once in a while that we have people who come up to us and propose, hey, why don't you do a panel on this? Why don't you do a panel on that? And then, believe it or not, it's not as easy as it seems. So today we're going to spend a whole day talking about behind the scenes about the Traveling TARDIS and developing Doctor Who panels at the convention. Again, this is not as easy as it looks just to say, hey, I have a great idea. It actually has to be thought out. It has to be worked upon. It has to be, well, we'll get into the details of such. Let me go ahead and introduce our panelists today. To the far left over here is, well, actually center, but my left, Melanie Dean. How you doing there, Melanie?
It's like far left. I was like, okay, Nisha. Oh, wait. There we go.
Is that me?
I can't point today.
Well, anyway, doing quite well. Like the other two on either side of me, they happen to be in Central Florida. I'm over on the west coast of Florida. So whatever storm they have now, I can hear it. And it's starting to thunder. So at any point you see me disappear or anybody else disappear, we will try to get back on and into the TARDIS. So there you go.
Exactly. We for those of you who are not familiar with the area, Nisha and I reside in Central Florida, and Melanie is in Tampa. So the storm is coming our
Petersburg.
way.
How dare you?
West Coast.
St. We get very, very picky on areas of Tampa Bay.
You just don't like each other that much.
No, we don't. No.
Speaking of which, and I will get the website later, we made it, guys. We are being nominated for Best of the Best of podcasts in the on the west side, Best of the Bay. So we'll be putting up that link a little bit later on when I get a chance to put it into the system. Speaking of putting into the system, hello, Nisha. How are you?
Hi, everybody. Welcome. I am doing good. Still recovering from cons after cons.
I know. For people who are not familiar, because Florida is a little bit open, they have been putting convention on top of convention on top of convention.
Yes.
So it was Tampa Bay Comic-Con, MegaCon practically on top of that, and then behind that was Fanboy Expo.
Fanboy Expo, yep. And before that, I had 2 other conventions.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it just been piling on top of each other.
I did not realize I had done 5. I was like, wait, what?
Well, we also had Awesome Con happened. Rally Galaxy Con happened. Wizard World is getting ready to start all of theirs. For Chicago is about to kick off. So all the cons are going on right now.
Gotcha. You want to join in the live chat? But if you're on our YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell wherever you are right now. Go ahead, just jump over to our YouTube page, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Hit that notification bell and subscribe. Our goal is to get to 1,500 by the end of the month. 2,000 hopefully by the end of the year. We're getting close. We're at like 13.8, and you guys have done it. You guys are making this thing grow exponentially, and we are very happy. We couldn't be more happier with you guys helping us out over here. Speaking of being happy, because he hasn't been here for a while, Mr. Mike Faber.
Hey guys, thanks for having me back.
Earth Station Who and Earth Station Who and where else?
Earth Station 1, Dragon Con report.
Yeah, I know.
You know, things like that. You know, it's pretty awesome, actually.
All the things.
You know, only 23 different shows. It's okay.
And is Dragon Con this weekend or next weekend?
Next weekend.
Next weekend.
It actually starts Thursday at noon.
Wow.
actually September 2nd, and then it goes through the Monday, which is the 6th. So we are prepping. It's actually going to be my first con in 18 months. So
wow.
So this is going to be jumping in with both feet again, kids. And, I was like you guys, doing at least a con twice a month before that. And either hosting panels, moderating panels, talking to guests and celebrities, or, just, being, an all around goofball at the cons. And that's just what it's about. And Dragon Con is, here in Atlanta where I'm based, and it's beautiful out. No storms here. So it's okay. And,
Shush.
And so, yeah. And, it's a chilly 91 degrees. So, we're enjoying it. I'm about to get my sweater out. So it's okay.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's Dragon Con. This is going to be my 17th Dragon Con. So this is going to be a blast.
And I saw over at one of the conventions just this past weekend was Jody Lynn Nye.
Yes,
she was there. I was just like, whoa, hi. Gave her a hi and just said, hey, if you need us, we'll be ready for next year. We're getting our plans together to get with the conventions that we've had previously, make sure they're okay, and trying to get back with them, and then hopefully by 2022 we are going to be expanding out throughout the Southeast if anybody wants to take us on, including one convention I hope in October. I'm not going to say much of anything else. We have made announcements about that, but it might even take us to another coast. So fingers crossed that this might be happening. Now, I don't know if they're going to take us there. But they said we will possibly, good chance that we will be there.
We're sending good juju your way.
Thank you.
Hey, maybe that's why my thing is happening.
We'll all be crashing on your couch.
Yes, a great thing there going on.
Nisha has a big couch there. Speaking of good things, Mackenzie Floor, how you doing? The lovely author of The Right of Wands. How's it going, Mackenzie?
We're doing good here. Lots of exciting things happening.
I know. Anything you can reveal, or you want to hold off until it's like, well, I want to make sure everything's in cement before I have that. But we heard all the good stuff, the potential good stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah. Well,
but is there anything you can hint to our friends out here?
I can say that the first talent has been attached to the Right of Wands TV series. He's a fantastic actor that is Irish American. He will be playing Orland, and he's excited, and I'm excited for him too.
Sweet. Well, good one there, Mackenzie. I'm hoping, fingers crossed that everything goes smoothly. And this is going to be awesome. Totally awesome.
Yeah, we're in the very early stages. We still have to get all the fund from the funding towards the investors, get all the producers and board and directors and all that. So if you may be a producer or a director and you're looking for the next, what they would say, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, King Arthur, you may want to check out The Right of Wands and find out and see if that might be a good fit for you.
Sweet.
And she'll be writing a lot quicker than George Martin, so it's okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a whole other story because the script does not actually really I can say 2 scenes from my book actually made it into the script for the pilot. The rest is all brand new stuff I wrote. So yeah, it's different.
Cool.
Gotcha. Well, we're going to be talking about, and since the 5 of us are here, we're going to have different dynamics because Nisha does Diversely Geek. Mike does his panels over for Dragon Con in his local area there. Mackenzie, I know you do panels, especially author panels. Melanie does artistic. We're also going to be focusing in specifically for Doctor Who panels. Now, not to begrudge people, because I don't know if you get this thing, Melanie. People come up on our social media, up to our booths and go like, hey, I have a great idea for a panel. Yes. And I feel bad about, I don't want to begrudge them. And it's like, no, I don't know if we can do that, or I'll take that idea. But there's actually a bit of a thought process to the panels that we select. And it's really hard. It's not as easy as you think, because with the time frame of Doctor Who, you have to realize that you have from classic all the way from 1963 to current 2021. Mm-hmm. You've got Whovians all over the place. So to have one specific panel is really hard to do. And I'll give you an example. Go ahead, Melanie. It looks like
I was going to say, and keep in mind that we're talking about panels that are live, or possibly at or in this kind of venue, but at conventions. So in a panelist setting, not necessarily a panel like this where we're doing StreamYard, because the key point I wanted to bring up was decision makers.
Yeah.
And when we're doing a podcast, when we're doing this particular show, we are the decision makers. We can be the ones that say, okay, well, let's go ahead and we'll do this. We'll do this. Can we flesh it out to do the hour? Can we get a half an hour? We can go, okay, we get enough people. Yeah, we can fill it. We can fill the time. But when it comes to a panel at a convention, and this is one thing where we're all going to be speaking a lot more on, is we're not the decision maker. We're the one that's submitting the panel, and we have to articulate and propose the panel. And a proposal itself, we'll get into it on how much we have to articulate what we want to speak on, what we can do, what we bring that our team could bring that other maybe people can't, but we're not the decision maker. So when people do bring up, hey, you should do a panel on, XYZ, fantastic. We love the idea. We'll see how we can, develop it into a proposal, but we're not the decision maker. We will submit anywhere between 6 and 8 panels and maybe get 1, maybe 2.
Exactly.
Worst thing happens, you get 4 and you're like, wait, what? And it's usually it's the filler ones that you didn't think were gonna go, and now all of a sudden you're doing no. So you're like, oh man. But
yeah, and there's 4 guidelines, for a better term, that I usually go over to make sure, because it really is hard. And I'll give you an example. This past
Wow.
The TARDIS breaks again.
The gods are talking to you, man.
That was thunder, y'all. I hope.
It's also the convention's gods are going, don't give your secret away just yet. Don't give it away there. But one of the panels that we did for MegaCon was what we call the Trial of the Time Lady, Jodie Whittaker. Believe it or not, there are actually people in there who had not even seen Jodie at all, and they still came to the panel, which is kind of a scary thing, because you don't want to go into the spoiler things. Hey there, Carl. You don't want to go into spoilers for people who have not seen her episodes, because now where's the line? Do you talk about her? Do we try to make it, how do you make a panel an hour long about Jodie Whittaker not really going into spoiler territory for people who haven't seen? So one of the first rules that I try to, or the guideline I should say, is to try to make, and I use the word inclusive, an inclusive experience. Hey there, Chris. That's one of the things that I try to do, because when we come in there, I don't know who's going in there, but we want to make them as welcome as possible, but we don't want their experience of Doctor Who to hinder them, meaning that, like I said, we're talking about Jodie Whittaker. They walked in and a couple of them didn't even see her. So I'm going to leave this to you guys. In this event, where do you feel like, where do you focus in for things? How do you get people into your world when they haven't even explored it yet?
Well, sometimes it's, we have to do almost like an introduction at the beginning of the panel, like, hey, this is what we're going to talk about. If you haven't seen, say, Jodie's episodes, we are going to spoil a little bit of some of the plot points and some of the things. And, we sometimes give, folks a moment or two. If somebody wants to get up and leave, they can, but we try to include them. And, we try to describe, why it would be beneficial for them to appear and join in on the panel. Because usually my panels that I do are more of discussions, and I want the audience involved. That's part of the reason of appearing at a con and such, is to speak to these people and get their opinions and such.
That is correct. And I'll when I go over my steps, I'll mention that. But I do have a word for that there. But what do you do with, how do you feel about getting people in who may not be into your topic? Does anybody else have any suggestions on that? Somebody walks into the room, you're about to talk about Jodie Whittaker, and they have not even seen her. Do you address it up front? Yeah.
Yeah, you address it up front.
Yeah, very much so.
Absolutely. And prepare ahead of time. I prepare a storyboard, which everyone knows who's ever been on a panel with me.
I know.
Yeah, my storyboards are very specific, but you see they make sense, right? So because we're always prepared for whatever dynamic is going to happen out there. I always am prepared for the person walking in to have no clue what we're talking about, because that's the person who we really need to be talking to, right?
Correct.
Because they're the ones who want that. They came there for a reason. We need to be able to address why they came to that panel and
Exactly.
what the connection point is for them. So always address it up front and always have sideline talking points ready for that particular stream of consciousness, if that's where we, where the conversation goes, where someone doesn't know what you're talking about. So.
Exactly. And I've done a few intro to Doctor Who panels, and, and sometimes you get folks at some of these cons you go to, because I do cons not just in Georgia. I do up in the Carolinas. I do out in Alabama, up in Tennessee, and even up in the DC area and stuff. Mm-hmm. And we don't know sometimes in some of these newer areas what the audiences are like. And so you also have, especially if it's a new con you have never been to before, you're trying to fill out and feel what the audiences are like also. Right. And you have to feel out the crowd as you're doing the panels too.
And one important thing is when you're doing your submission for the panel, you also do have to make sure that you're submitting what they're going to be putting in print or on the web or, however to advertise what your panel description is. So you can have the small 3-line, tiny paragraph of what your panel is going to be. And you want to make sure that you're always sticking back to that, because that's typically what got somebody to go to your panel, because they read your description and then they went ahead and looked at that and went, oh, that sounds like an interesting panel. And then, that's what they're there. Now, if it's something where you start kind of going off topic and all that kind of stuff, you kind of want to keep going back to that description. Yeah. So you're staying on point, but to everybody's points of you need to be bullet point. You need to have, what topics you want. So you keep going back to that structure. So you don't tend to freewheel like
vacillate.
Our show can be more kinetic, but when you're in person, right, you want to stay on point.
You want to stay on talk. Exactly. You want to stay on focus, because I've seen panels where here's the focus, but we're over here right now. We're completely off.
Yeah. And then you lose your attending, your audience. So
exactly.
But would that be a bad thing occasionally if the audience has steered that panel the way to that? Would that be a bad thing, or do you think it's more important to bring it back to the focus?
I think if you're seeing people start to leave, you need to remember to get back, back on point now.
Read your room. Yes. Reading your room is everything. Exactly. It doesn't matter if it's a virtual or if it's an on-site panel. And you guys know this because you're all experienced it. You have to read the room and you have to feel the energy. If the energy is moving, like you say, kinetically in a direction, then do it. Then keep going with that direction. But if you see someone in the back going, then, go, hey.
And sometimes it's even easy if you feel like when you're reading the audience and you see somebody who's lost in the audience and everything, sometimes try to pull them in and try to make it inclusive. And, sometimes just reach out to them and say, what's your thoughts on this topic and stuff? Sometimes they hate it when you put them on point, but then they brighten up because it shows that you're paying attention to what the audience thinks too. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah. And even with having the audience being really interactive, that's also like a real key point. It's because they're seeing my cat walking back and forth, like, pause, please. Like just now. But if you can get your audience to get interested in what you're talking about.
I'm ready for my moment, Mr. DeVille.
Speaking of crazy panels, we got a commercial break. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tune in. We're going to continue our discussion about how we put our panels together. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and become part of the legend.
Oh, brilliant! It's hard to believe that in the 56-year history of the greatest sci-fi television show in the English language, there has never been a fan guide to Doctor Who. The official books might give you what they think you need to know, but only a guide written by a true fan will give you what you really want to know. Join Whovian, the brilliant Mackenzie Floor, as she takes you on an intensive journey inside the world of the first female Doctor. In the Binge Watcher's Guide to Doctor Who, Season 11. Right, let's get a shift on.
Bateman.
What's the Bateman?
A novel set in Florida, written by Florida author D.L. Havlin. Suspense, mystery, and murder.
Evidence is in the bait.
The Bait Man is available at local bookstores and online.
Jackie Sonnenberg's My Soul to Keep is a ghost story rooted in the realities of actual cults. When 13-year-old Sky Monroe arrives at her new boarding school, all she can think about is death and connecting with the afterlife. Soon she discovers her school's spirituality group, the Guardians of Light, and they have a secret. They can speak with the dead, and the organization is a cult. But this isn't Sky's only problem. The campus house where Sky resides is haunted, and even the ghosts have an agenda. They intend on getting the souls they want. Filled with mystery and intrigue plucked straight from the headlines, author Jackie Sonnenberg's research and attention to detail give this ghost story an even more eerie atmosphere. Find My Soul to Keep on Amazon.com today.
The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS is powered by Geek Insider. Without them, you wouldn't be seeing us on the YouTube channel or Twitch page, or hearing that lightning outside our windows striking on our Facebook page. And we want to thank our friends at geekinsider.com. Don't forget to subscribe and tell them the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS sent you.
At Geek Insider, we foster relationships with those in the geek sphere so we can give our audience the insider view of entertainment, tech, and more.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basel. Thank you for joining us. For those of you who are just joined in, especially our friends from the Wizard World Facebook page, thank you for joining us. Hopefully for a little while longer while that rain. Wow. Okay, that thing's getting a little loud. So
I bet you didn't think they were going to order Thor for tonight. Huh?
Apparently,
like, oh my lord.
He's outside my window. I've got Melanie Dean from Pieces Melee on Instagram. I've got Nisha Mulchin from CEO of Diversely Geek, my favorite at the ESO Network, and Mackenzie Floor, the author of The Rite of Wange and the Binge Watcher's Guide now to Doctor Who. Thank you for joining us here. I'll answer that question later.
Okay. Wow.
This is what happened.
A private
asked you a question on Messenger directly, so that I'm like, okay, because and he just stops and reads.
Okay, you know what? What? I will do. I will do this. I was at
Squirrel.
Seriously.
I was at FanExpo, the Fanboy Expo, and I really wanted to meet two people who showed up over at Fanboy Expo. One of which, both of them actually had 2 episodes on the same week. The first person is Kevin McNally, who plays Jossame Gibbs on the Pirates of the Caribbean. But for those of you Whovians who are classic Who, he was in the Twin Dilemma as Hugo Lang. What was it? Lieutenant, is that Mike? Is that right, Mike? Lieutenant Hugo Lang, who was in the very first episode of the Twin Dilemma with Colin Baker premiering as the 6th Doctor. Also there that same week that we had our show, we had the lovely Ashley Eckstein.
Yay!
Yay!
And you got a picture of the TARDIS.
Wonderful.
Oh, she is gorgeous. I didn't know she was Orlando. I didn't know she lived here.
She lives here.
I know, but the question Melanie was going like, why are you referring to her as a princess and not a Jedi? Well, because the following picture that I took would not work without this title, the princess, the pirate and the princess, and that's what I think is cute. Mm-hmm. So, Jedi, if you want Jedi, that's fine there. So,
but she will tell you, I am no Jedi. So.
Yes.
Well, I want to personally thank Kevin and Ashley for not only taking the pictures but being on our show. We had a lovely time, and I'm glad they got together to do this one shot with the Traveling TARDIS.
So nice.
We actually got to meet him at Dragon Con a couple years back.
Really?
Yes.
That was the first time I've ever seen him. He's a lovely guy. I was ready to buy him a drink. I tell you, I was like, I want to buy a drink and and it was like it was only 2 p.m. I was ready to fall apart. That's how that convention just runs you down.
Oh yeah. He was actually in the audience of a Downton Abbey panel we were doing because his wife is a member of Downton Abbey, and she surprised us and showed up because she wasn't even a guest at the con. He was a guest, and Phyllis, who is his wife, and was really amazing. She showed up and said, "Do you mind if I sit in with you?" And it was like she sat right next to me. It was just like, "Oh, this is just awesome," So it was pretty cool.
No. And Melanie had put up there if you want to get Kevin's cameo, and I just heard Ashley's got one too. Just recently got one, so we'll put those up over there. Cameo.com/pirate for Kevin, and Melanie is going to be working on trying to find that one for Ashley because she just put it up there. We're continuing our discussion with panels behind the scenes of why and how we come up with the panels that we have over here. So yeah, to give you the rundown, we come up with 10 panels, and we try to make sure that we are, for a better term, inclusive of everybody as far as experience is concerned. Everybody has a different experience. And, you can kind of think of panels of like intros to Doctor Who, but we want to try to get everybody in there as much as we can. But, I don't think there we go. Cameo.com/Ashley Eckstein. So check them out and tell them the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS sent you. So it is really tough to try to get as many Whovians as you can when you try to limit it. Not saying that, an intro to Doctor Who is not a great panel. It is, especially for poor thing. It is. It's just that we want to try to get as many Whovians as we can, and we don't want to limit it out because of the type of panel we have. But sometimes it's hard to do because we do want to also entertain people. One panel that we have is what was it? Oh God, I can't think of it right now. The Doctor Who Starter Kit. Thank you. The Doctor Who Starter Kit, where we try to not only bring in new Whovians or help Whovians that have friends who are trying to get into Doctor Who, but we try to make them a starter kit, and it's interactive too. The first panel that we had over at MegaCon was that. We had a diverse audience, Carl Whitman says, but this is New York. Agent used the phrase, yep. I said, no. We had to cut the panel short. Gotcha. No, we try to be inclusive, everybody. James Herman, how you doing there? Offer jelly babies at the door. People love candy. Yeah, think about that. And Molly Marcus, Nisha did that brilliantly at MegaCon with Isaiah. Tell us a little bit about that. What's up?
Okay, so while I was doing my my workshop, which the book released at MegaCon, so I did the self-care for your inner geek workshop, and one of the most important parts of any panel I do is leaving space for interactive connection. And this young man answered a question from the very get-go. I had invited him to come because he was doing an internship with the LGBT Center here, and I invited him to come because he was a huge geek and totally understood what my book was about. So he came, and he answered a question right away. And to be able, I just knew that he really connected to what we were doing. And he's also autistic. So I wanted to just create a space of inclusivity for him. And I invited him to come and sit on the stage next to me while I was presenting the panel.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's part of his learning experience, what he's doing and what he's studying. I wanted to highly acknowledge it because he was so invested in this material and in the medium. So I had him be part of the panel. Basically, he became my guest panelist in a workshop. So when I had a point and I knew he had the answer, he would whisper it to me in my ear from the stage, and I would be, okay, Isaiah, why don't you go ahead and speak on that subject? And then I adjusted the panel to make sure that he became a highly inclusive part of the conversation because his conversation was highly relevant. So why would I not include it? Just because it's the workshop I created, what does that mean? It means nothing in the long run if the people don't feel like they're included, or if there isn't a two-way piece of conversation, or like you said, a dynamic of movement and flow. So that's, I will do that at panels. I will bring people up if they're extremely invested in the conversation, and I feel like they're going to be a good, offer a beautiful presence. I will bring people up.
Which brings me to my second point of panels that we discuss. What's interactive?
Yes.
Is this panel interactive? Because one thing, and I'm not going to begrudge the panel that I was on. I was actually on a panel with a group of, let's put it this way, they're very known out there. Here comes the rain again falling. I don't want to get a strike from YouTube for them. But thanks, you know how picky they are out there. I was asked to host a panel of another genre that I'm not familiar with. Now, I knew about it, but let's just say I hadn't seen the current films as of yet. I saw one, and I hadn't seen the others. And I was literally thrown from the convention host saying, Dr. Bell, autistic people are wonderful. I married a Whovian who's also autistic.
Hey.
Awesome. And Carl Witzman, that was a very cool idea, Nisha. Let me get back on track. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
The people who were by my side, who were part of the panel that I was hosting, knew about the topic far more than I did. In fact, their existence, people, anybody knows around the convention, they knew more stuff than I could have ever been. But I decided to go a different route. I decided to bring in the audience to tell me, and I was asking questions to the audience about their experience, and I was focusing on something else. It was still part of the topic of the discussion, but I wanted them to bring into the audience. Now, here was the weird part about this whole thing. I turned to the people, and they were interactive too. They were cool. But I turned to the panelists to the side, and I don't know what behooved me. I just needed to say I was sorry because I felt like I didn't know the topic too well, but I knew enough to host it, to handle it. I knew quite enough. And I went to apologize to the panelists, saying, "Listen, I was kind of thrown in here. I didn't know too much, and I apologize. But I hope you had a good time. And if you need me for anything, please let me know." And the other panelists turned to me and go, "We thought you knew what the hell you were talking about. What are you talking?" So I was like, "Oh God, why did I even?"
You faked it.
You faked it.
I
faked it very well.
Yeah.
He's a good faker, isn't he, folks?
Yeah. Shut it, Mike.
He does nothing about Doctor Who.
In fact,
he's never watched an episode. He just, he has this little toy he runs around with,
In fact, the other two people on the panel at the far end came up to me and going, "What did you do during the panel?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You started asking people questions and started responding to them." And I said, "Yeah, isn't that what panels do?" And they went, "No, we just normally sit up here and let them ask the questions." And I was just like, how? And these guys are famous for who they are.
And that's the thing is there are different styles of panels. There's Q&A, there's conversations, there's interactions. And that's the other thing is when you're making that little note of, what the description is, you want to make sure that that's in there so people know, okay, I'm going to a Q&A or I'm going to a conversation. I'm going, that way they kind of know what they're getting into as well. That way, if it's somebody that really doesn't want to be, pulled in or doesn't want to have their hand up and doesn't want to be called out because maybe they have a lot of, anxiety, they want to be that little wallflower and enjoy it. That's another reason why they're going to be looking at those panel descriptions to go, okay, this is something I'll feel comfortable in this space.
Yeah. Right, but I knew that they were a Q&A, but I did it. I had a different approach, and everybody who was on stage had a different aspect of how to handle panels, and they were coming from different fields. One was an artist, two of them were very well-known cosplayers, and one was just by my side just to help me out. She, Bree, I'll say her name. She was wonderful. She was just being there just in case things went a little awry. That she was by my side the whole time. But I just thought it was interesting. I was just like, I don't think I could sit anywhere for an hour and kind of, for a better term. And like I said, I'm not insulting or anything, but just demand people go ask me questions for the next hour. I just I don't think I could do that without being interactive somehow or seeing what the audience would feel. I'm not begrudging it, but that was something they were used to. And when they saw what I did, they actually said, "Well, we think we're going to be doing that from now on." And I was just like, how did I encourage you guys to do it? You've been around forever. I've just been doing this, because I like interaction. I love when people bring in different topics. That's why we have the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, to see, because a lot of people have been broadened my horizons on things that I may not be familiar with. And that's my favorite response to anything that I've come up with. Christian, I had no idea about that until you said something. I would have never thought about that. It's my favorite thing to get in response to anything that I've said. If I've opened your mind to something, even if you don't agree with me, you give them that chance.
This comment, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'll say this comment kind of opens up to a question I was going to pose to the rest of the panelists, and it's Michael McDade saying to Christian, "That's interesting. Hi, Christian. Moderating is something I'd like to do." Now, one thing I would like to bring up is that there is a difference between hosting a panel and moderating a panel.
Right.
So one thing I want to bring up to kind of do a
and
quick
being a
shift,
panelist.
right?
Yes.
So I'm the first question I wanted to bring up to our panelists is, we'll get more into panel submissions, which we already kind of touched on, but to go with what Michael's saying is, how do you get into moderating a panel? Whoever wants to grab it.
Well, I'll start off with it because I really did not have a lot of experience at being a host, and I wanted to see what that would be like. And I tried it with Michigan Comic-Con, and actually I was surprised. Our panel was on Big Finish and how to do audiobooks, because that was one thing I noticed in the area is that there wasn't really a lot of topic about audiobooks and how to get into audiobooks and how do you hire somebody to do an audiobook, or how does that actor prepare for whatever audiobook they're going to do in the project. So I actually flew Chris Walker-Thompson from Big Finish over to Michigan Comic-Con, and we had a whole panel. We discussed simply about Big Finish and his experience as an actor. And going with Christian, it was very nice to be able to get the interaction from the audience. I was expecting really nobody really to show up, to be honest, because it was the way we said, it wasn't really advertised very well, but it turned out we had a full room. In fact, it was standing room only because people were very interested in that and having that interaction. So a lot of it is it depends on the convention, the kind of conventions that I
exactly
from anywhere from the smaller conventions where you might have something like there is a convention in Detroit that specifically is for more towards authors and creative people in general. So in that case, you would have a list of questions that you have, kind of like what Nisha does, where she puts out an outline of what it's going to be and has bullet points, and then you follow that, and you almost have to follow that to a T, where there isn't a lot of room where you can interact with the audience until the end. Or you might have something like what I did at Michigan Comic-Con, where it's open question right at the beginning. Ask the actor a question and get it started, and then pull in the audience to find out what exactly are they wanting to learn about. What is it that they were most interested about? Some of them, it turned out they wanted to hear what Chris sounded like. They wanted to hear his David Tennant, his Matt Smith, specifically his second Doctor, which he's a fantastic at. All three of them he's fantastic at. So it was wonderful.
And to that point, and thanks for saying that too. When depending on the style of panel that you're moderating, you change your preparation as well. The storyboarding are two completely different things. When you're on a focused topic and you're working within a space of a topic and a discussion point, you want to kind of have everyone on the same page so that you don't have a lot of digression. But when you have a guest, which we do, we'll have special artists on, we'll have entertainers on, or I'll have a scientist on here and again. That's a different form of moderation. That's a call and answer, as I call it, or a Q&A. And those, you want the audience, you want to leave space for the audience to be able to interact and ask questions.
A lot of like the cons, like if you have a bigger celebrity, say you're doing like someone from Doctor Who, so like one of the doctors or the companions or such, you have to prepare and have questions, and you want to try to ask them questions that they've never been asked before. And because they get the same questions over and over a lot of times. And it's real interesting because when we used to do Concaster Burris in Alabama, we did all the Sunday big name panels. So we got to talk to Peter Davison. We got to talk to Colin Baker. We got to talk to some of the doctors, and then also some of the companions or some of the Paternoster gang. And so it was always neat to do that. But you also have to be prepared that these are Q&As. They want to talk to the audience. They don't want to talk to me. This is not me to interview them. This is me to get the ball rolling, and then the audience pretty much takes over a lot of the times.
Mike, speaking with the ball rolling, let me go to a commercial break. When we return, we'll continue our discussion of how we form our panels, and we'll be right back.
Meet the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
But not the one you were expecting.
All right, sexy. It's time to go home.
Doctor Who Velocity. Streaming now.
Author Cindy Koepp is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Koepp at CKOEPP.com today.
This is Cosplay Michael with the Hanging Out Club Show. I want to tell you about my friends at Embellis Effects in Orlando, Florida. They've got makeup, costumes, and props for all of your costume needs. And the team at Embellis Effects is helpful and friendly. Embellis Effects is one of my favorite places, and I know it will be yours too. I'll see you there. Or go to embelliseffects.com. And remember, cosplay is for everyone.
The massive audio Doctor Who Bad Wolf Bluetooth TARDIS speaker. That's all I gotta say, one word. Wow. It looks like it just jumped right off the screen. Here it is in all its Bad Wolf glory. Right here is the on-off switch and the up and down volume. Right here's the speaker. The TARDIS stands about 6 inches from the bottom of the TARDIS all the way up to the top where the light is. Look at the detail. Wow.
TARDIS wireless Bluetooth speakers and wireless chargers. You can get them at Amazon.com/FameTek, spelled FameTek. Again, that's Amazon.com/FameTek. Tell them the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS sent you. We're continuing our discussion about panels, how we make them, how we bring them up to conventions, what is selected, what's not selected. And I wanted to go on Mike's comment there a little bit more, because Mike, what I've usually told people and what I usually tell the team, 90% of the time when I'm doing anything, either panels or anything of that nature, I try not to even say a word. Because if I've gotten something going, especially if you see the other attendees, they'll start talking to each other. They'll start in a banter, and that to me is a good panel. But like you said, if you're interviewing a host or if you're hosting a guest for a Q&A, my questions will never be the topic on hand. Like if I had Colin Baker there, my questions will never be about Colin Baker and his time on Doctor Who. It'll be the Young Indiana Jones specials, Sawbone Hex, everything else, and maybe some Big Finish, but nothing about Doctor Who, because your audience is going to be asking those questions. So spare that for the audience. Than doing it yourself. Otherwise, you're going to be taking up their questions there. Mark just woke up from the most hibernation.
Now, getting into moderating, a lot of it, from what I see, it is a little bit of who you know, and that's honestly, whenever you hear the words, "Oh, it's who you know," that's because you need to put yourself out there and take all the. This would be Luna saying hello. Get out there.
Cat attack. Cat attack.
Cat attack. But yeah, I mean, I think, everyone else could speak more onto moderating like the bigger name panels, and that's when you start getting your work. But you have to start small and then take those little nibbles until somebody needs to. Oh, we need somebody to fill in. Here you go.
Right.
That's how it works. You have to start somewhere to get somewhere, and in the beginning, it is very. You have to find your feet under you. I mean, right? Didn't everybody go through that? Like, oh my God, what
apply, submit.
My very first Dragon Con panel, Caro put me on a Doctor Who versus Star Trek panel with Peter David, and I was just like, and Peter David doesn't let you get a word in edgewise anyway, so so it was pretty awesome though.
You also have to be willing to just ask them.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Just ask.
If they say no, they say no.
And
At least you know.
you also have to work your way up, truthfully.
That's it.
And, you know, don't expect somebody right off the street. Hi, I want to be the moderator for Chris Eccleston this weekend at Dragon Con.
Yeah.
No, that's not going to happen.
That's something left for people who've been doing it over and over and over and very comfortable and knows how, you know, how things are with the celebrity, that they can, you know, so they can get things out of them. But sometimes it's a little tricky for some, for the guests, I should say, not just necessarily celebrities, because I've dealt with guests where I've gotten this, you know, I will say this whole paragraph question and the answer will be a yes or no answer. And I'm just sitting there in darkness going, oh, okay, well, I was expecting a little bit more from you, but, okay, well, let me ask another question, see if we can get a little bit more for you. They're kind of tricky because you have to pull them in, and they're usually very, I guess for a better term, abrupt, meaning that they just kind of just say their thing and then they just move on. It's really tricky there.
Well, exactly. Well, like when we interviewed Mark Shepard, he didn't even let us get a word in edgewise to introduce him. He says, "I'm not here to talk to you. I'm here to talk to them." And he just walked out into the audience and just he did even the microphone work himself, and it was just like, wow. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, if you know John Barrowman, I mean, have you ever seen anybody host him?
No.
No, exactly.
You just introduce him, and you don't even have to do that. To be fair, so.
I've been mooned by him, but I haven't been introduced.
Oh, okay. Lucky you. Do you use your resume if you have any sort of journalism background experience?
No. When I started kind of moderating really teeny, not necessarily cons, but similarly is when I used to do industry panels for the promotional products industry, and it would literally be reaching out to different people like that I knew was putting on the show, going, "Hey, my name is this. I'm in marketing, blah 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 blah, and I just want to know if you need any help moderating panels, let me know." And usually somebody would be like, "Yeah, actually, we just need somebody just to kind of keep watching the deck on this," and that kind of helps build your resume. Right. And then from there, you know, you can kind of move it around, at least get your experience, you know, get your feet wet.
I know some people use sizzle reels, which I'm still not familiar. I'm familiar with them, but I wouldn't even know how to make one.
Editing. Everybody, if you have iMovie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
You can do it. Yeah.
Or if you want to just put out an audio one, you just you know, it literally all depends, and that's real easy. If you do a podcast,
put it on YouTube as a link.
Exactly.
After all this time, I just got picked up to be approved to be a guest moderator at a convention in a convention series. So I don't know what that entails. It's just that I was like, hey, so are you ready for me to moderate guests now? Because I've been doing it, right? And I have an expertise. And that's one of the things too, Michael. I have a very specific expertise in what I do, right? I wrote my expertise. It's mine. So it's easy for me to go out there and say, I can moderate in that expertise. But also, you know, I've built up with all these kind people my experience. And so I was like, hey, you know, this is my reel. These are the things I've done. Take a look at the YouTube, you know, and I asked and I got the okay. So, but it takes a long time to get to this place.
James says he can confirm with the Mark Shepard experience. Michael McDade asked, now for the guests, do you take time to introduce yourself backstage? Of course.
Yeah, of course.
If you can, because this is where you want to make them feel comfortable about you. If there are anything, you know, at this point, if there's any sensitive topics that they don't want to bring up, things like that. If you're even lucky enough to have that,
I was going to say, at the most, you get like 3 minutes.
Exactly.
You know? And so, and it's like when we met Peter Davison and had to interview him, he was busy texting his wife, and he didn't want to talk to us. It's like, go away, you're bothering me, kid. And then he came out on stage with us, and he was like acting like our best friend. So it was awesome.
It's if you can get the time to do it, go for it. Take try to get out much information as you can from them, and again, just the whole purpose of that 1 to 2 to 3 minutes. Even if you get a chance to do that, you want them to feel comfortable in your presence. And you can start when you have that conversation, you can start to feel, is this somebody who's going to be working together with you, maybe a little bit hesitant for you, something somebody you might have to work on to get answers than just yes or no answers from them. You'll get the feel over time. But yeah, especially when we've done this show as long as we have, or everybody on this panel has interviewed, talked to celebrities, talked to guests. You start to feel where the direction's going, and then you kind of bump off of that. So, but the third topic that I had forgotten, I almost skipped out on that. The third thing that I try to look for in a panel is it fun? Is it going to be fun for everybody? Is this is not a train wreck? If everybody comes to this panel, they're here to have a good time, which is kind of
that's why you're doing it. Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mark Monty, I only started getting panels by myself once I hit the bestseller list, and showed I had an audience. And after the panels were packed, they started getting us bigger and bigger rooms. Good job there, Erie, Florida, folks. Check it out and tell them the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS sent you. Mark Muncie is also one of our co-hosts. Yeah. Occasionally, why he's on the other side of this, I have no idea. But and there's us at MegaCon with Dalek, and I just give you a little bit of a heads up. If everything works out well, next week we'll be talking to the Dalek builders of Florida, so you will get an idea of how those Daleks are built, where they come from, what ideas, and one of them has. I'm hoping our friend will be on next week because he has a special Dalek that he is creating.
Those poor people being consumed by Daleks.
Exactly. The panel I could not come, but hey.
The cosplay panel.
The cosplay
panel. Yeah. Which is perfect because I know hardly anything about cosplay there. Enjoying the insider info. Okay, thank you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, the answer to Mike's next question. You see the big one?
Yes, exactly. That was one of the ways.
Everyone here is going to tell you yes.
That's one of the ways I started. One of my very first panels, to believe it or not, was all about scientific stuff, like really, really sophisticated scientific stuff. I am not scientific. I'm an author. My main character happens to deal with a plague, so he deals with medicine. I mean, that's like, for me, that was all it was having to do with science. So I was totally lost. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to just ask questions. I'm going to build in. And then finding enough that Japan, it was China, it was China, had this big thing that they actually looked at Doctor Who specifically and the way that people write in the fantasy. And that's where it all came connected together. So you'll find that there's something that you'll be able to contribute to that you've done. So you may end up on a panel that you have no idea about, but if you can bring it back.
If something happens to the keyboard, you all know it's this idiot.
Nice. And Michael, it never hurts. I mean, more panels, because you get the experience of having to bounce off different people, different personalities. Some of them are a little clashy. Some of them are very, welcoming and working together. They
complement each other, basically.
Yes. They complement each other, or there might just be some personalities that just, are not. You got to do a little bit more work or something.
You got to build the chemistry. And I was going to just quickly say to Mackenzie's point is sometimes you don't have a lot. You don't have like any prep time. So you will become cram. Remember how you crammed for whatever subject you needed to cram for in school? Oh, yeah. You're going to have to learn how to cram quickly.
Exactly. I have literally.
Mike, hold that thought. Speaking of cramming, we're going to commercial break. Final commercial. When we return, we're going to get the mic slot. I promise. Stand by.
You have more options than ever before when choosing a film, a television or internet series, a book to curl up with, or even a radio show or podcast. Get to know the people who are creating for you. The Hangin' With Web Show, hosted by award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomacher, is the internet's fastest-growing web talk show series. The Hangin' With Web Show features professional, yet casual, in-depth interviews with creative arts and entertainment pros. Meet the people behind a digital revolution in creating more quality content than ever before in the history of media. Find the Hangin' With Web Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or simply go to www.hanginwithshow.com. That's www.hanginwithshow.com.
Join in, become part of this legend, Doctor Who Worlds Apart, Doctor Who Worlds Apart. You can play for free. Sign up every day and get your free 10 Pandex every day that you can get your cards with, or you can just purchase outright. They have some wonderful packs out there. Tell them the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS sent you, and we'll be, once the game gets going, we're going to be playing as well. Thank you for joining us again, and we're just wrapping up our discussion with panels. Mike, sorry to cut you off over there, but I needed to throw in that final commercial there.
No,
so go for it, Mike. Apologies.
My jaw hurts from hanging there open the whole time during the commercial. But it was really awesome. To answer Michael's question, go for whatever panels you can get onto. It doesn't just have to be Doctor Who fandom and everything. Literally at Dragon Con, I am doing 19 panels over the weekend. Wow. And so I'm going to be busy as heck. But some of it's about podcasting, some of it's about science, some of it's about American TV, some of it's about classic movies, some of it's about literature. But I'm only doing 3 Doctor Who panels the whole weekend. Okay. So it just literally, try to get on whatever you feel comfortable with. And they're always looking for panelists. And then you just build your rapport with the audience.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And making sure it's a panel that you know about.
Oh yeah, just don't sit there and go, yeah, that's right, that's good.
Yes.
That's a good thing.
It's something to know about it. Yeah, God bless him. Ken Spivey, the first panel that I've ever done Doctor Who. What he invited me to Orlando at the time that Time Lord Fest was over there, and the topic was Doctor Who and vampires. I'm like, well, there was one episode. We could probably play that show, and it's 90. I think it's 90 minutes long, and it's just like, that's an episode. And you want me to explain something because the Vampires of Venice had just come out over there, and I'm just like, I'm going to explain something where maybe 1 or 2 episodes really got into it. So I started talking. Carol was there. I think Carol was there, Mike, and she was actually there. I didn't even know who she was at the time. And she actually asked me if I wanted to come to Dragon Con. I said, well, I really don't have the means to, but if ever in a chance, I'll let you know. And that was years ago.
To Michael asking what con is this for? He was referring to Dragon Con.
Dragon Con. I'll be at Dragon Con from the 2nd till the 6th of September.
Mm-hmm. That's in Atlanta.
And I actually would take this question here if you're from Andrew. He's saying, aside from Doctor Who, what other fandoms would you like to host on a panel?
Yeah.
His would be Tolkien, if not Doctor Who. I actually have done panels for Harry Potter and for Lord of the Rings, and also for podcasting. It turned out that there's a local convention that's for authors here in Michigan, and the person that was supposed to be on for panelists for podcasting never showed up. And so they were scrambling trying to find out somebody who could do podcasting. And because they're like, has anybody have any experience with podcasting? Well, because I had the podcasting experience here with Legend of Traveling TARDIS, I'm like, I do. And so I got right on and demonstrated how the equipment worked, how you interact with both the person that's hosting, interacting with the audience when there's questions. So there's all kinds of different opportunities that you can have there.
One of the first panels I'm doing next Friday is an intro to digital media. So it's basically podcasting 101 and how to get involved with it. Yeah. Because I also teach people how to podcast. So
exactly. And like tomorrow, I actually am going to be on a podcast. Well, it's not technically a podcast. I have to call it more of a Zoom meeting with a bunch of screenwriters to teach them how to connect talents to your screenplay or your project, because the person running it learned that I had attached talents. So they're like, okay, Mackenzie, can you teach my people? I'm like, sure.
What other fun panels would others want to host? Nisha?
Nisha.
Well, I do Cellar Door with Louis Lacow from Villicon, and it's an ASMR retelling of the Silmarillion. So can I host a Tolkien panel? Probably. Probably just a bit. And it's our love and our passion for Tolkien, where we created a spoken word version, retelling of Silmarillion. We did chapters 1 to 16 so far, and it's with audio, everything you can think of. I never thought in my life I'd be a voice actor. So just to know, I added that to my accolades. So Tolkien 100%. and my series, obviously, I can do any fandom because, we're talking about the psyche and psychology of that fandom and how fandoms improve our mental wellness and our self-care journey. So for me, I have to be prepared. Right now, I'm working on an entire series that has to do with RPGs, and we're launching a series with GayPOC and the Game Art organization with JC Calloway. That's a panel series we're going to be presenting at New York City Comic Con, which is one of the new moderating thingies that I got. Yay. And it's on the mental wellness and the learning journey that comes with RPGs and video gaming. So that's huge. And that's awesome. We have no idea. You have no idea where a journey is going to lead you or where a network is going to lead you. So you should always be open to saying yes to something. Unless you're totally uncomfortable with it, nothing negative for me, nothing, but be willing because you can always learn.
Yeah.
What you might, what other fandom you wish you could have? Kind of our final wrap up kind of question before we go into
wow, that's like saying what is my favorite child or my favorite
I
pet,
know. Like for me, it would be like I can go random with anything NASA, specifically the Cassini spacecraft. I know more. That's like knowledge I can just start going off my head. If I wanted to, I could go Star Wars Bad Batch. Let's just have a podcast on that now.
I didn't even say that, but that's a given.
No, exactly. Oh, probably Star Wars. I would love to talk about Star Wars, especially the cartoons that have been coming out. Anything from Rebels to Clone Wars, now Bad Batch. They have just been amazing. Exactly, and that's been the fun. That's been fun for me, and it brought my joy back to Star Wars again too because of it.
It did. There was a good question down there. Someone has a question down there. But
we got to wrap up.
I think
we're at an hour.
Yeah, we are. We're over an hour. Go ahead, Kristen.
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up.
We'll do that.
We'll come back to the after show. Hey, folks, stand by. The after show is another half hour. For those of you listening to us on iHeartRadio or anywhere else that you're listening to your favorite audio podcast, sci-fi.radio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, CBSRadio.com, Spreaker, wherever. Thank you. And we want to thank our friends over at the Hanging with Web TV series because they take care of us as far as the audios are concerned. And we want to thank you. Don't forget, if you want to listen and subscribe to us there, awesome. Go for it. For those of you, please stick around for the after party. We're going to go ahead and finish up wrapping up some of the questions that we weren't able to get during the show. And we want you to continue to stay logged on, tune in. Please stay safe out there. And thank you for becoming part of the legend. Okay, so to answer Michael's question there, I Red Dwarf. I'm a big Red Dwarf fan. Gotta have my Red Dwarf.
Andrew. You've been on a Red Dwarf panel with me.
Yes, I did. I was on the Red Dwarf panel with you, but I want more.
I know.
we did a what was it? The Promised Land. I want to talk about all the series out there. And you know what? We never talk about them. What about the spinoffs, Torchwood and Sarah Jane Adventures? They don't really get their
Who?
Weird. Maybe we could have that on a. If we only had a Doctor Who podcast.
That
needs content weekly.
I'll let you guys talk about class. That's the only thing,
it was
you didn't go there.
Sarah Jane audio.
We had one on class where everyone tried to convince me to watch it.
I'm sorry.
I didn't.
Oh gosh.
It was a hard sell.
I know.
But hey, it is what it is, and we spent an hour talking about that.
Lucky.
So, sign up for the con. Go.
Yeah.
Do it.
Go for it, Michael. Go do it.
Absolutely.
Get your feet wet.
What con's near you? What area? What region is drivable for you, sir?
We're on the planet Earth, if that's where you're from.
Yes.
Dragon Con. It's almost too late for you to do. It's they're selling tickets pretty much up to I think the beginning of next week. But you cannot buy tickets at the door or anything.
I know some friends are still looking for, like, for me, they were like, hey, do you want to come run it, help me run the table? And I'm like, I don't have the time off because so many cons are on top of one another right now.
Right.
My September, I'm going to Dallas, and then in October, I'm going to Denver for those two fan expos. So it's like,
Well, I wish I could do Denver. I've wanted to do that. And I actually had to cancel 2 conventions that I was going to do this year because they're both back to back in October. And I have literally 2 conventions the same weekend. So I had to be, okay, I had to pick and choose. So I'm like, okay, I contacted those conventions and pushed them to next year, which sad, but I'm sure it's better with the way Delta is. It's probably for a better thing.
Yeah. Well, the great thing with Delta and, such, for the first time ever, there's hotel rooms for Dragon Con actually available at the end of August.
Yes, first time.
Yeah, especially because how they've scheduled, put in the COVID restrictions, they basically, all the people who aren't, getting shots or getting, vaccinated or not planning on getting the testing within 72 hours of going to the con, they will not get in, even though if they paid for their passes.
Yeah.
And so, that's a plus.
It's opening up.
Yep.
Yeah.
One thing to quickly note is that the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS does have a panel during Dragon Con. However, it's during one of the sections of when the panel it's virtual. So there's a portion there's a few different times during the convention where at Dragon Con they were going to kind of shut everything down for the better part, or different rooms will kind of be done for an hour. And while that hour is being cleaned, sanitized, blah, 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 there's going to be different content that's going to be streaming, and there's going to be panels on that. So,
and if you do want to be part of Dragon Con, even if you're not going to the con, for $10, you can stream Dragon Con TV for a year. So it's pretty awesome. So that's my plug for Dragon Con. I'm no more saying anything else.
Misha can answer the question for Michael.
I can answer that question. Yes, I can. So, Michael, you go to our YouTube site. It's diverselygeek.org or Diversely Geek on YouTube. And we probably have about 20 of our panels up there. And we do the same that the Traveling TARDIS does. We stream on StreamYard, and then it goes live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. So you can find our panels on any of those 3 places. Most of them are on YouTube. And you also said something. I saw you, you said that we do panels and discussions on science and etc. But not just fandoms, but those are all fandoms, right? Every single thing that we engage in, that we're a fan of, that's a hobby, that's a positive, that really fuels our joy and our energy, that's a fandom. So also think outside that box. That's a really important thing, because I am a scientist for a living, right? So that part's cool, but I've been on panels with, say, Mike, where I've had discussions on things you would never think I'd be doing. I'm a huge NASA fan, so put me on something that has to do with that. That's a yes. But just kind of be open to figuring out what makes you happy and what you think other people connect to. That's outside.
I'm actually going to take James' question and have some fun with it. Hang on one second. Let me pull up the window.
I knew you have it. I knew you were going to answer that.
Comment. Yes, I'm going to answer it in our own way. Boom. There we go. James, if you go and subscribe to our YouTube channel, there is a series called Game On Series, and there are board games where we talk about Worlds Apart, the series, and hopefully that'll be coming online very shortly. There are other games like Doctor Who Takes on the Multiverse. Mike and I had a great time with that. It's just basically taking Doctor Who and just expanding it out over there. But I'm giving a plug out to our YouTube channel also, specifically just for being on the YouTube channel. You get Bits of the TARDIS, which are just basically bite-sized chunks of our larger episodes. The Who Knew News, anytime that an episode drops, we put out a new segment and we talk about that. And actor Simon Fisher-Becker has putting on his sci-fi vlogs on our YouTube channel. And currently right now, Replicators What If. He brings out his doses and his take on the sci-fi world, as well as interviews, reviews, Big Finish reviews, and past streaming. Yes, check us out on our YouTube channel. Let me go ahead and take that out.
Take that out. Real quick, we need to take out Mike, because Mike cannot stay for the entire party.
Okay.
So everybody,
I gotta go, guys. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
We'll talk soon. Love you.
Absolutely.
Love you, go.
Survive MegaCon. Or
Be safe at Dragon Con.
MegaCon. It's a big con. Yeah.
It's huge.
Huge. It's big.
You never know. I might blow off LA and still go to Dragon Con.
To answer the question as well about if there's any Doctor Who RPGs, also go on to our panelist Dave Chapman. He's from Canada. Hence why he has theratHole.ca. Everything on there is about games, about mostly tabletop games. But go /Who, and that's where he's kind of curated all of the Doctor Who kind of stuff that you can find when it comes to tabletop and whatnot. As for online RPG, it's kind of scattershot. They've really never made anything too fun for PlayStation, that kind of thing. I mean, Oculus they were going to do what was the one that we tried out, Mackenzie, that you could play, and it was with the 13th Doctor.
Which actually they just, I believe they just released it. Yeah, they just released it for the consoles, so that is going to be on there. There's also, though you can't get them on the PlayStation 4. And if you still have the PlayStation 3, there's some of the older Doctor Who ones with Matt Smith is on there too.
Okay, well, go ahead, James. Now you're both in Canada, so you're used to the .ca. Yeah. Okay.
There's
you definitely need to know Dave.
What was that one? The Lone Cyberman. There was a spin-off game that had to do with Blink that just came on.
Lonely Assassin.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking for. Lonely Assassin. Yep. Yeah. I have that on my Android.
That one was just released, I want to say last week, for the PlayStation 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there are, but if you definitely go onto the rathole.ca, I don't know if you're specific on console gaming or if you're thinking tabletop for your RPG. But Dave has already kind of curated an entire list of stuff here. So, and I know there's a lot of the almost that D&D style of role play of RPG. So I want to make sure that if you're thinking console or tabletop.
Yeah, and if you are thinking more like D&D, there is actually a book out with the 13th Doctor, and I believe Dave actually has a link to it, possibly on his website. And it's actually, or you could Google it because it's free right now. You can actually get a new edition of it that has been expanded. Yeah. It's completely free to download.
Yep, Lonely Assassins is on the Switch. Just a fun, stupid fact. To Christian's point, on YouTube, we did have a interview with some of the fine folks of Doctor Who: The Lonely Assassin. I believe it was. I'm trying to remember the name of the I could see the logo that Maze Theory.
Yes.
Maze Theory?
Yes.
They were on. So they were on the show. So if you wanted a little bit more intel and information about the game there, you can go check out our YouTube channel on the YouTubes and the Game On portion. And I can't talk right now. I'm really
just go to YouTube channel.
Also, which we of course hasn't fully come out yet, but we have interviews about some of the inside of that too. And I know that they're planning on coming back here to give us some more information. I don't know when, but that's something they want to do.
Of course. The other one that we are trying to play and try to get together is Doctor Who Worlds Apart, who is a lovely sponsor of ours. Once that rolls out, we're going to start playing that. That's online, kind of another tabletop style game, except it's all online. So all your cards are digital. They have NFTs attached to them, so they're your cards. You do not have to purchase cards in order to play. You actually will get a standard deck, but if you want to purchase cards to kind of, have really, really good legendary cards that will probably try beating all of us, Nisha.
Yeah.
Every pack she opened, I swear I had a legendary. Every Doctor, Nisha has. I'm going to have an army of Ood, okay? But I will do this.
And if you want to get on the game, just a word of or spoiler alert, their new pack comes out in 2 days.
I know!
But you can go
if you log in every day, you get 10 Pendacks, and those little kind of credits.
I'm so bad.
Add them up, and you can buy a deck of cards that way too.
Oh my god!
And just to help the folks out over there you go.
Playing.
Doctor Who Worlds Apart. Yeah, we can't wait until we start playing because we're just going to be throwing down left and right. It will be not safe for kids when we start, getting angry at each other.
Yes, it will.
The kids are going to learn some new words today.
Yeah, they're going to learn new words because the new words are going to be very highly vocabularily specific. I mean, it's going to be very Princess Bride up in here and Monty Python-ish of the specificity of the insults that are going to be flung. You'll be like, what did they say?
Like, what is that?
What does that mean?
I'll be already taking all the things I already do that I say to Genshin Impact on a daily basis, especially to Mahoyo on a daily basis, and I'll take it probably over to World's Part.
And just for our friends out there who are still watching, if you want to advertise with us, no, you're fine. If you want to advertise with
I'm
us,
apologizing to the 8 people watching. Sorry, Al.
I love these 8 people. I'm just letting you know. If you want to advertise with us, you've seen our advertisements out there. Talk to them. These folks are getting a lot of traction going on over there, including our girl down here for the Binge Watchers Guide. Advertise with us, sage@hangingwithshow.com or christian@hangingwithshow.com. We'll get you the rates and everything that you need. Also, don't forget. No, you're fine. Also, don't forget. 25% off Wizard World Vault. Go to wizardworld.com and use the promo code TARDIS25. You will get 25% off your purchase. I know these ladies have gone completely ape on that.
It's
website.
Legit. I mean, some of the stuff is sold out, so I'm kind of like, But a lot of things with Wizard World is maybe they'll restock once cons.
They had some really awesome variant comics. That was my main thing I did. I got a variant comic. Like, yes.
I cannot wait for Wizard World Chicago to start up. And
hello.
Our boy Tom's back.
Tom.
Yeah.
Let's see. But yeah, that TARDIS 25, that's the serious
That's
little
legit.
code there,
Yes.
y'all.
Everybody's tried it. So
off.
25% off your purchase. Yeah. I want to check it out at wizardworld.com. Go to their vault, put in the promo code. You're good. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS.com.
Find my Worlds
Or YouTube.com, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. I remember Chris from a sci-fi convention in Orlando, Florida years ago. Don't hold that against me. That narrows it down. I've been to a ton of them lately.
Did anybody read this? Did anybody else read this as Obi-Wan? No, just me? Okay. Damn, Mike.
His name?
No, Tom just said hello there. And all I heard was Obi-Wan go, hello there.
Oh, no.
Which, by the way, in the new...
Then he said General Kenobi. Oh, okay, gotcha. I was like, where are you going?
Kenobi. I don't know. I'm going to tell you right now, in the Obi-Wan, we're just going to... Sorry. In the new Obi-Wan series, it better open with him, with McGregor saying hello there, or at some point we better hear hello there. I swear.
Yeah, I
This
agree.
just makes me happy.
Manifest that into the world.
So happy to know that Hayden's there.
I can't wait for Andor. I just took over this podcast. FYI, Christian, now it's Star Wars.
We did our normal thing. We went all Star Wars on you. That's it.
No, they had Ashley.
We had Pedro Pascal here. We better throw in The Last of Us also.
I can't wait for Andor. Andor is like the one that's like flying underneath the radar because like everyone's thinking Kenobi, or Obi-Wan, and I'm just like
Andor is going to be.
Filoni, and we trust Filoni, and I think
it's going to be so emotional because you have to think about the whole story that's coming with Andor.
Yes,
that's just going to like tear
I need a
people's hearts
podcast
out.
to talk Bad Batch. Christian.
That would be a fun panel right there, is being able to talk about a book and how to adapt it for TV and how it is such a beast to do. And no
joke. Star Wars mutiny coming on my own show there.
I know, right?
Always. You can't have me and Melanie together.
No, you can't. I finally got at doing the convention circuit. If you're somebody who's into reading Star Wars books or you're watching Rebels and you love Thrawn, Timothy Zahn does a lot of conventions right now. He was at Tampa Bay Comic-Con. He's in the convention circuit. And if you ever want to meet the man who created Admiral Thrawn, go speak to him, get his books, all that kind of stuff. So I never read anything from him. I know about him. I know about the lore, blah, 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 blah. Everyone's like, heir to the Empire, heir to the Empire, heir to. So I literally, because he was 2 booths next to me, so we were just chatting like crazy. And I was like, all right, I need my gateway drug. You're the one that created where do I start? And I only really know Thrawn from Rebels. And he's like, okay, here. And I'm reading Thrawn now to start, and then I'll go back and
read the comic book series, actually. It's extremely relevant.
Timothy told me to read Thrawn.
Like, he's correct, but it's the Thrawn comic book series. It's his own series, for God's sakes. But it gives you the like that heart and soul understanding of where his impetus. How does he become this Thrawn?
Yes.
And you're like, oh, gotcha,
yes,
gotcha.
Now, to almost segue back, see, guys, this is what happens when a panel decides to go off the rails. And as a host, see how Christian just kind of was like, let me just let this have fun. Let's just let them interact. And you kind of,
that's how I roll in this particular one.
Especially when it's me and Nisha and Mackenzie. We're like, well, no, we done took the wheel. We made the left turn. We're going.
Dang, if Jessica was here, it would be done. We'd be all fried. That would be it.
That's why we're showing all the things not to do. So yeah, you got an example what not to do.
Tom. Exactly, Tom. Thank you. I'm just going to give this because we've had people who join our Twitch, so I want to welcome Haas00312 on our Twitch channel.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I just want to.
Not you. I'm telling them sorry.
I'm pretty sure
apologize to you.
HS is from Jason Sully. So, hey
We don't
watch Jason Sully would understand that one.
We don't give a lot of love to our Twitch channel, so let me go ahead and put that into the chats. If you're somebody who likes Twitch or wants to join our Twitch channel, and I know Mackenzie has one. Nisha,
once we start playing games,
has a Twitch channel.
We need
the content will go on there.
Absolutely.
So,
and I've been saying I'm going to stream the old Doctor Who ones from PlayStation 3. I just got to figure out how to get it onto my Twitch. That's the part.
You should totally let us do our Star Wars thing on Twitch. Come on. I mean, it really we'll make it totally relevant to Doctor Who. I promise. We know how to do that.
Why are you looking at me? You look like I'm stopping you three.
No, we got a question, and it's back to so Andrew Morris is now righted this ship. Sorry.
Yeah.
He says, I'm a big fan of the 8th Doctor. Yeah, Palm again. Would any of you like to see Big Finish do audios based on the Doctor Who magazine comic run?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not reading the magazine, Doctor Who magazine. I didn't know that they're doing a comic run themselves. I was reading the 8th Doctor with in Titan, and that he had the artistic I can't remember her name, the artistic companion. But no, a lot of the stuff Titan makes is absolutely phenomenal. Which I would love to see them, Big Finish port that over.
Let's see.
Let Paul talk everything. We just recently listened to the Strand. We're listening to the Stranded series. I think we did 1 and 2, possibly.
We're going to be doing 2. We did 1, not 2 yet.
Okay, because I know I listened to it, and I can't remember if we had spoke about it yet.
We were talking about doing it. We just got to find time to do it because
next week.
That's a big pack. No, next week is the Dalek Builders.
Next week is Dalek Builders.
So.
The run from the 90s, early 2000s. Ooh, no, I am not familiar with that content.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that.
I'm looking at it now. I'm reading on it.
I'm allowed to do anything, Paul McGann. Bring him back for something.
I'm not looking to see what comics he
see his series.
Radio that was the Radio Times, the weekly comic strip.
Doctor Who magazine.
Also, the standard Doctor Who magazine strip. So I guess that was the same one. The 2 series introduced brand new companions, although the 8 Doctors.
They're running the Doctor Who magazine is actually. I don't know if they're still doing it. They were running a comic in the actual Doctor Who magazine, so I thought he was talking about that.
Mm-hmm. Nope, I'll send you this link.
Okay, send it.
If anybody wants to, I don't want to butcher the name. So
Xenomorph.
No, Jikasan. No, Jikasan. The name of our writer here, Jikusan. Jikusan.
All right.
I apologize. I think at the time I was a friend with who wore a Xenomorph costume there. If I remember correctly, I was dressed as the 11th Doctor. It was more than 5 years ago. Yeah, I can't even remember what I did 5 minutes ago. Sorry. This feeble old thing is just not up to par anymore. So yeah, memory's gone completely.
Yeah.
It's so. Jiku. So just call me Jiku. I will do my best if I'm pronouncing that right. So if I'm doing that wrong, please give me the phonetic. I want to try to get names right someday.
All right, my loves. I'm actually going to have to.
Very interesting.
It is, isn't it? That's you guys should read that. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that this
definitely
is what it was.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to do one of the bench guide books. I want to do an actual book more that deals with the Eighth Doctor, just instead of just his movie that goes with the Big Finish and his comics. So I didn't even know this existed. So thank you, because now I can add this into that book.
Yeah, the one that we're looking at though right now, Andrew, is just specifically the magazine one. So I didn't look at the graphic novel part of it yet, but that's the next part.
Yeah, it's on the TARDIS wiki. She found it and then she sent me the link. If I can find the link, I'll put it in here so other people could see what the heck we're talking about.
All right.
Okay. Well, if it's okay, I'm gonna head out.
I'm watching the time with our friends at Wizard World.
Love the after party, but my parents just came by. Hello. I'm gonna just say hey to the mom and the dad and my sister, and thank you guys so much. Hopefully I'm on next week, because then after that things go different. So
yeah, you better be on.
Lots of exciting things going on. Yeah.
I'll look forward to what Mackenzie and I are bringing you, because hopefully we'll be able to announce that to the TLTT audience soon, that we can get it all worked out. But someone asked us about those little psyche panels. Look forward to TLTT, that you may be seeing that coming soon. So a little bit of a team up between the Diversely Geek team and TLTT, bringing you the psyche and the psychology of Doctor Who, and led by me and Miss Mackenzie.
Yes, based on what you were talking about earlier that you're going to do, I have a Twitch streamer. I got to suggest to you, Jason Sully. I think you and him would match up with what your topic is going to be. So I think he can give you some insight. I'll have to get you his information.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, my loves.
Thanks,
you guys have a good one.
Bye, Anisha, everyone. You've got us for another 3 minutes. Sorry.
Oh, wow. Okay.
For now, anyway.
Right. For now. But yeah, in the link, that was the wiki that Nisha found for me. So at least you can kind of start there from what Andrew was bringing up. And then from there, we can kind of expand. And, as the internet is, we can probably find pages of it or clips of it. Lord knows, someone maybe made an animated comic on YouTube. We don't know. But 3 minutes.
2 minutes giving
knitting.
That's nice. Thanks, Andrew.
I guess your storm somehow blew over to Michigan because it got really, really dark.
Oh, okay. Well, we sent the rain northward. Where is everybody going to be in the next, 2 minutes? We can plug things
this weekend I am going to be on Saturday. I am going to be at a art and affair in Swartz Creek, Arts Creek in the Park. Yeah. Excited about that.
Anything else?
Might be home for a while.
Christian might be home for a while. I'm going to be at
Comic-Con in October. I can say that it's the same, unfortunately, it's the same exact weekend as Wizard World Chicago.
Wait, which one?
The Motor City Comic-Con.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
which weekend is that?
That one's the same weekend. It's October.
29th?
I want to say it's like October 15th or the 17th, somewhere in there is there, and then the Toronto Expo is the following weekend. So there's another one for those.
Nuts. Because FanExpo Denver is going to be on October 29th through 31st. So it's going to be like that Halloween weekend. I will be there. And also FanExpo Dallas, which is going to be September 17th through 19th. I will also be there. So you can find me and we could talk Doctor Who and everything Star Wars also, FYI. Sorry, Christian.
Let me put this in the there because I almost forgot before the show completely ends. Vote.
Oh, yes.
Vote.
Yes.
For the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS for Best of the Bay. Go to there. I'll take you right directly to the podcast selection and vote for. Oh, what? Can you? You know what? Where is it? Whoa! It jumped. Hold on a second. Let me go back. Wow.
You've got less than a minute, sir.
I know. Okay.
Which is probably a good thing because right now the trees are literally blowing sideways right now. So it makes me a little nervous seeing that.
Enjoy. Show.
So yes, if you go into vote at cltampa.com, you can get one of the best of the Bay kind of items for best podcast. That would be The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS.
There we are.
If you can, that would be amazing.
Right there. There you go. And just
in this huge plethora of stuff, look for The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS and give us a vote. We would absolutely intrinsically appreciate it.
No, just give you
be amazing.
Bit of a heads up. To vote, you have to sign up. So it might ask for you for your email stuff, but that's just so that your
give them your junk email. Everybody's got at least 4 of them.
You are awesome. You are awesome.
You.
I love you. Thank you.
You're not supposed to tell them we do that.
That's what I do. I use my junk email. What? People ain't gonna be using my real email. What? You think any grocery store would be like getting my real email? Please, I got my junk one. I go to that one and then I just delete everything in there. That's what Yahoo. Isn't that what AOL still exists for?
Yeah, unless you're trying to talk to my main account email, for some reason it doesn't like AOL. Like I have a friend who's a producer and he sends me stuff and I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't get your email because he's got AOL. I don't know
why. That literally is what's for garbage.
Yeah, it's literally it happens to me all the time. I had an email a couple weeks ago.
It's like MySpace.
Exactly.
Does anybody hang out over there anymore?
That would be amazing. I would kill to have is MySpace still a thing? Oh, I wonder if I have an Angel Fire. Maybe Prodigy.com. Oh God, how old
anyway,
am I?
we're getting kicked out by Wizard World.
Yes,
just
sorry,
wrapping
guys.
up with this question. And interesting, anyways. Where are all your opinions of virtual reality? I love it. I just, I love it. I have nearsightedness, so it does make me a little bit dizzy, but it's something good. What?
No, I'm with Andrew on AOL. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Right.
Yes, and that's why I keep calling my friend. I'm like, can you switch to Gmail so I can at least get your emails? I mean, if it hadn't been for the 20 actors that were responding, I would have had no idea what was going on.
I have a real email, a fake email, a junk email. Hey, I don't want people to know me email.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got like 14 emails, right? Isn't that what you're supposed to have?
We don't have to go home, but we can't stay here. Thank you, everybody, from Wizard World to our Facebook page, everything. Everybody on our YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much. Please stay safe. Next week, the Dalek Builders of Florida. Thank you for joining us. Please stay safe. Please stay logged on and continue to become part of the legend.